Hello, Divine Ones. I'm just waiting for a few of you to join for our Q&A today. I have got some delicious chicken soup. Hey, Margot, how are you, precious one? Good to see you. Hey, Charles. Hope you're all keeping your energy up, your vibration up. I know the world's gone a bit batshit crazy with this coronavirus. I am just getting so much nourishment from my food. Turmeric, ginger, I'm having like lemon oil that you can ingest, and rosemary oil is really good to ingest. Hot lemon water in the morning, and then obviously, most importantly, getting our vibration up, and really that's going to keep everything away from you. So anyway, I'm going to dive on in. I'm really late today with this Q&A. I had to breastfeed my little girl because I do it on demand. So when she cries and she wants to be fed, I am there. Anyway, I'm here now and ready to rock and roll, and I'm going to dive straight into it. So today, it's a super potent discussion. It comes up all the time, and it's about people pleasing. So, I'm just looking at my phone, with what I wrote in the invitation to all of you. And people pleasing used to be my MO. It took up a lot of space and energy. It was all through my frequency, all through my self-worth, and it was really wreaking havoc with my life on all levels. So just for a second, I'm actually going to just take myself back to when that was my life, because it's not anymore, and that's why I've exponentially changed my life. But I just want to take a second to go back there, and I encourage you right now to put your hands on your heart to really connect with your truth, because the quicker you can let in and be with your truth, then you can go, oh my gosh, that's what I need to transform. That's what I need to change right now. It's not enough to just sit there and say, yes, Lucy, I'm a people pleaser as well, and then we all hold hands and do a dance. Like, that's not going to do anything. Being aware is the very first step, and then it's about actually shifting that point of attraction and getting that frequency and that vibration out of your being so you can step into your highest identity. So put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, really come into this present moment with me. I'm just going to go back to myself, okay? I'm just going to drop in. It's very uncomfortable, but so fucking what? That's what we do, because we've got to seek the truth. Hey, gorgeous Jazz. I was literally powerless in my life. There you go. That's what comes straight through. Hey, Erin. And please ask questions along the way. This is your Q&A. When I sit back down into where I used to live from, I had no power. I was jazz handsing it all through my life, slapping on, I've got this energy and I've got this space and I'm really, really happy and I'm just being positive. When I look back, it actually makes me want to weep, because I couldn't have been further from my truth and from my soul's essence. Not one part of me was living on purpose. I was hiding out. I was in a job that was technically really, really good, paying me good money, not spectacular money, but good money. And I remember consciously making the decision that, well, this is enough for me. If I was going to do my dream, I would have done it by now. This was in my very early 30s. And I was like, this is it. I'm just lucky to have this job. And all I need to do now is just keep going to my friends' weddings and pick up Mr. Right, and then go and have a family. And then that's me, tick, done. And hey, Marina. And as I said to you, this was a conscious decision. This is the scariest part for me, that I basically gave up on my dream. I gave up on my talents. I gave up on my gifts and the bigness of who I was, because I told myself, well, if I was going to use my gifts, then I would have used them by now, and I would have done that, and I haven't. So I've missed the boat, and I consciously sold out. Holy fucking shit. I'm just going back there. It's not comfortable. It's not how I live anymore, and it's foreign, but that was how I was living. Oh, a bit of rice on my chest from my soup. So let me just stay there. So when I feel into my body, it's very heavy. It's got numb parts. I wasn't connected to my heart. My self-expression was completely stifled. The irony was that I thought that I was so self-expressed, and I wasn't. I was just telling people what I thought they wanted to hear. This was showing up in all my relationships. It was showing up with my boss at the time. It was showing up in my friendships, just being the good friend and always like available and listening to everyone else's stories and not bringing in my truth and not expecting the space to be held for me. Can you relate to that? Where you're always the one that's there for everyone, but then you're like, hello, what about me? It feels terrible. It feels fucking depleting, exhausting. It's like being on this treadmill that doesn't stop. And the reason we keep giving and overgiving is because that's where we are finding our value. And it's a really unhealthy paradigm. And for me, that was the truth. I used to go, well, as long as I'm listening to these people and, you know, giving of myself, I'm being a good person. No, I wasn't being a good person at all. I was completely betraying myself and not getting my own needs met. And just giving from an empty place it's fucking ludicrous. It's idiocracy. And that's what I was doing. It's not potent to be giving from an empty tank. It's actually unhealthy and it's dangerous because that can send you into depression. That can send you into anxiety. It's from lack, it's from scarcity. And I was there. That was me. And I was deeply unhappy when I look back at the time that I was in. I was just hanging for the weekend, waiting to get that alcohol into me so I could get into my freedom. That was where I used to say, that's my happy place. That's where I come to life. That's where I can really be me, right? When I was drinking on the weekend with my friends and socializing. No, it fucking wasn't. That was called me numbing and hiding from myself and hiding from my life and pretending that everything was okay and escaping through the alcohol to have fun. Holy shitballs. That was just the way that I was. And on every Sunday, I was just used to reaching for the Nurofen or for the Panadol or for the Tylenol, whichever country you're in, and just used to just chucking a couple of those down because I expected to be hungover. I expected to not be in alignment and to have to recover from actually putting myself through that, putting my body through that, filling myself up with toxins, and then knowing that I'd have to next day go into rescue remedies. Like, it's just doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not saying I don't enjoy a glass of wine. This conversation is not about wine, but I'm being very specific to let you in on what it used to be like for me. Because underneath all of that jazz hands, underneath all of that overgiving was a one hell of a depleted individual who was not getting what she wanted in this life. That was me. I wasn't in a relationship that I wanted to be in. I was dating every night of the week with the wrong guy, with guys that weren't showing up for me the way that I needed it. I didn't even know who to be on those dates, for God's sake. I was making sure I looked good. I had the right dress. I had my hair done. I had new earrings. I'd have a couple of glasses of champagne before I went out to make sure I was on form. On form. Like, what the fuck? Hey, Rebecca, long time no see, darling. Yeah, exactly, Jazz. Jazz said that you were that person. Yeah, you end up resenting everyone else. Fucking oath you do. I was literally living a lie. And many of you in here right now are so fucking full of shit because you're not willing to look at the truth. You're not willing to face yourself and to go, where the fuck was I standing this time last year? Is it the same place as you are now? If it is, I ask you, hello, it's not a dress rehearsal, this life. I wish someone whacked me over the head with a fucking saucepan to wake me the fuck up, because that's what I needed. Because I was so far down the rabbit hole and so in such steep pretending that I was fine that I didn't know how bad it was. That's the scary part, that we get so caught up in trying to keep it all together, trying to show everyone that I'm all right, I've got this, instead of stopping for 5 seconds to go, I haven't got this. I am not where I want to be. I deserve more than this. And so many of you in here are fucking kidding yourselves, because I say this with love, by the way. That's a disclaimer. I'm telling you because I love you girls and I want you to rise and I want you to be loved. But I got to dish it up straight the way that I wish it was dished up to me, because there is no sugarcoating in here. It's not my jam. My jam is truth and fucking authenticity. And many of you in here are wanting the express train. You're wanting it done for you. The express train's fine. come and create with me and we'll get the express train, right? But you're wanting it done for you and you're being lazy with your dream, lazy with your life, and lazy with your heart. You're not doing anything different. You're not stepping up. You're not getting out of your comfort zone. You're complaining about what is not happening in your life and wondering how the fuck you're still standing in the same place. But you're not putting your back into it. You're not making it life or death circumstances. And the universe does not favor people that want to sit on their ass and not take action with the most precious thing that we have, which is our life. Yeah? Hey, Taryn. So Chelsea said, I wasn't like that with my friends, but I was such a people pleaser with men in relationships. Yeah. I'm sure, Chelsea, that if you look even deeper, you'll see that there are elements of this that did show up even in friendships. But yes, let me come back to this conversation. I love it. In relationships with men, we feel that there is so much at stake, and it is a little bit different to friendships, but everything does connect together. That's why I'm saying it shows up in your bank account or lack thereof, right? When we're in scarcity. And when we're in that people-pleasing mindset, the core of it is, I have to work really hard for love. That's what's behind people pleasing. If I'm not showing people, like really showing people like, this is who I am, and if I'm not really trying to help them with their life to the point of like fucking killing myself, then I'm not worth anything. That's where you girls have been finding your self-worth, is in helping others. And you're not even qualified to do that because your own life is a fucking shit show. It's a shit show. Some of you are only barely making it through the day. And it doesn't have to be like this, right? You should not be missing out on love. Every one of us deserves a soulmate relationship, but you got to get fucking serious about your life and stop putting your energy into the weekend or into the holiday that you're going to take or the house that you're going to buy, because you're not going to have a man to fucking share it with if you don't do the work to get your heart open. You might want to go and freeze your eggs. Great. I get that. But you're not going to be able to have someone to put sperm with those eggs, or you can get it from a donor. But is that what you want? No. When I speak to those of you, you cry down the phone to me and say, I don't want to have a baby on my own. And let me tell you something, as a new mum, thank fuck I'm not doing this on my own, because having a baby is no walk in the park. It is the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And I'm grateful every single day. But it's stretching me in ways that I can't even predict, and I'm grateful for that, because that's what we're here for, to expand and be stretched, right? Especially in the heart. But I want to say to you right now, so many of you are selling out on yourself, and you are more invested in your plan B. You're okay to get the resources together to go and freeze your eggs, but you won't get the resources together to actually do the work on yourself so you can get into alignment, so that you don't even have to do any of that freezing, because you're so busy getting into alignment so you can attract in the love of your life now, make babies, and create a lit up life. Okay? So yes, this conversation is about people pleasing with men and changing who you are to make sure that that guy stays dating you. It's never going to last, and you are going to keep attracting the wrong men from this place right here that you are in. It's like this Groundhog Day cycle, and I know how fucking painful it is because I've been there, and I truly didn't feel like I had a way out. I was like, I'm just not good at relationships, or I just make the wrong decisions, or I get the bad guys who don't show up. I had bought into that like that was the truth, and I want to tell you something right now. It's not the fucking truth. It was a shitty truth that I was buying into and putting on repeat, because I was outsourcing my healing. I was having it done to me, and I had my head in about 7,000 books, but nowhere was I actually taking responsibility, getting a fucking amazing mentor, and getting out of that shit show, raising my vibration, transmuting my past, transmuting my trauma, and really deeply healing my soul so I could step into the highest version of who I really was. And that's what it took for me to now live my best life. Marina says, I notice the more I'm assertive with guys, the more they like me. Yeah, but it's not just about being assertive either. What I want to say to you girls is that it's really about coming home to who you truly are, and not just scattergunning like, this is what I want and this is who I am. It's very, very masculine. It's about really sinking down into the feminine and learning how to connect, not just with your heart, but with your womb space. And so that you're attracting men to you through your magnetism. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by fully accepting yourself. And I know, Marina, from last week, darling, that's not where you were. Okay, I'm calling a spade a spade. You were like, I've got stuff around my fertility, I've got leukemia. So there's a part of you that's completely cut off from really accepting who you really are. And you've been in my space, dear one, for a couple of years now. And I want to ask you, what's stopping you from taking action to really once and for all solve this? Because many of you are just dabbling and you aren't making this the priority. And you are putting men on a pedestal. You're putting your boss on a pedestal, and it's showing up everywhere in your life because deep down, your little girl has a big fat lid on. Because she doesn't know what it's like to take up space. She doesn't feel safe taking up space, having the spotlight on her. Your little girl feels that that's greedy. She's got that energy of like, oh, I've just got to be the good girl. I've just got to be there for everyone else. And the last person you're there for is yourself. Time doesn't stop and wait for you to get your shit together. And eggs do not get better with age, right? For those of you that want children. Every day that this is not solved and taken care of, you are dramatically upping the stakes of missing out on being a mum. You can do it on your own. That's an option, 100%. But I know when I get into the hearts with many of you on the phone calls, you'll say to me, that's not the way that I want to do it. And if you're telling yourself that that is the way that you want to do it, that's because you've really checked out from actually believing that you can actually have someone there to hold space for you when you're a mess. Someone there who really sees the real you. This is where the conversation needs to go. You're terrified to be who you really are. You don't know who you really are. That's the issue underneath all of this people pleasing. And you haven't stopped to let that really land on you and really have you go, holy fuck, that's really, really big. Because it is really big. Hey, Audrey. Until you make it the priority to be in a 100% soulmate relationship with yourself. That means accepting yourself on every single level. It means being able to be with your past and to work through it in a way that's healing and not just talking about it over and over again with a fucking therapist or with a life coach. And I'm not writing off all life coaches, but I am saying that I get a lot of women that come to me that are even currently with their life coach saying to me, please help me, Lucy, because I've been with my life coach for 3 years and I'm doing all this work and I'm not changing the caliber of man that I'm attracting in. My bank account hasn't gone up. Like, my health is still shit. What the fuck am I meant to do? And I said, it's because you're intellectually doing the work. That's what the issue is. It's about actually being taken through a process deep into your heart and back home to your power so that you can get into alignment quick, smart, right? We're talking 8 weeks here. We're not talking 8 years. This is my issue with therapy. That's a whole other conversation. I'm not going to go into it right now. But if you're not getting the results in your life, but you keep showing up to the same person, you got to fucking question the shit out of that. It's like when I used to have this friend that I loved so, so much. And every time I left our catch-ups, I felt depleted because I was listening to her complain and I was always using all my energy to help her get back to her center. Until one day I said, I'm not getting fucking anything out of this friendship. I love you so much, but I'm going up here and you're here. And every time I meet up with you, I get brought down to here. And I said, you know what? It's my fault just as much as yours because I keep showing up knowing that they're the kind of conversations that we have. Like, I am just as responsible right now. And sure enough, like a couple of weeks after that, I had a very truthful conversation. I said, I can't do this. I'm not willing to sit here with you complaining about your life because I'm out to create my life. And so suddenly we're not on the same page anymore. And I was willing to surrender that because it was pulling me down, pulling my life force down, and it was no longer in alignment with the life that I was out to create. But you can't sit around blaming people for pulling you down. You can't sit there blaming your parents, blaming your age, blaming where you live, saying that love doesn't work for you or whatever the fuck it is, when you're sitting there being a victim to your circumstances. Hey, gorgeous Jody. Hey, Audrey. People pleasing is only happening because you keep showing up the same way. You keep being available to listening to people's shit. You keep going into relationships trying to be the good girl, trying to look good and say all the right things and give the guy sex even if you're not ready yet, and then wonder why the fuck it doesn't work out. That's because you're not in your truth. You're not in your authenticity. You're not in your self-expression. You're not being bold in what you want and what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. You don't have clear boundaries. You don't have standards that are clear for you. You don't have clarity on what it is that you're wanting to attract, and you sure as shit don't have clarity on your fucking brilliance. This is why you keep people pleasing, because you're operating out of this much consciousness from your little girl. Right? From a 3-year-old. Just picture that right now, that your 3-year-old right now is running your relationships at 30. She's running your relationships at 40, at 50, at 60, until you do the work with her and heal her once and for all. I don't give a fuck if you've done little girl work before. What I do care about is, have you got the result in your life right now? Because people say, well, I've worked on my little girl. Great. Has it changed anything? No, but I know all about it. Great. That's irrelevant. I don't care if you know all about it. What I care about is, have you done the work where it's bringing you a different result, bringing you a different outcome? Because if it hasn't been strong enough. It hasn't worked for you. You've intellectually done the work, but you haven't integrated it into your heart. There is no fooling the law of attraction. When we are in alignment with our magnificence, when we are in our power, when we are realizing how fucking amazing we are and we feel that deeply, you cannot possibly attract in a low vibrational relationship. It doesn't work. To give you an example, you've been attracting men in from here because you don't believe in love. Neither do they. Then you hang out for a bit, have a bit of a kiss, and then you're like, yeah, let's just keep hanging out together with our hearts closed, right? That's what it's like. 2 hearts closed does not make a relationship work. So what happens is, when you do the work, like my women that come into me and work with me, they go up the vibrational escalator, they keep going, and they land about here. They're like, holy fuck, my life is changing. And then they go up again. This is where you used to attract from. This is your new point of attraction. Can you see that you can't possibly attract in the low vibrational men anymore when you're up here? It's not that these people are bad guys, not at all, but they're in this low frequency consciousness where you used to live, for those of you that have worked with me. Up here, you're going to attract someone that's also done the work on themselves, that also, thank you, honking, honking. That means confirmation of the universe. the streets out there, they're my orchestra. So this is what happens. The law of attraction says that if you go and do the work on yourself and play fucking full out, you're going to attract in the same. A man who knows who he is, who values himself deeply, who does not people please, because you've learned to give up people pleasing here. That is the truth. So please don't waste time sitting there in confusion, in feeling like, woe is me, when's it going to be my time? Or sitting there in hope and saying, oh, well, I'm just going to stop trying. I'm just going to hand it off to the universe and they're going to bring me my man. No, the universe isn't going to do that. The universe is only ever responding to how you really feel deep down in your inner world. And many of you in here do not believe for a second that you are capable of attracting in the love of your life. Otherwise, you would. That's the truth. So please, 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 well, I don't have to beg you because it's your life, but I can definitely invite you to take yourself way more seriously than you have been. Because if you're not going to fight for yourself and fight for your fucking greatness and fight for that dream and do whatever it's going to take to step up, I can guarantee you 100% you are going to be standing in the same place this time next month, next year, and the year after that, all the way till you're 40, all the way till you're 50, and you're going to have regret. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anyone. I've been put on this planet for a reason, and because I did show up so fucking fully for myself to really heal my past and to step into the bigness of who I am, where I take risks, and I gave up the fear of judgment because I don't give a fuck about judgment. People are going to judge me anyway, right? Every time I do a live, I'm getting judged, but it's none of my business. My mission, my vision is to impact as many women as I can to step into their light, to step into your greatness so that you can attract in the love of your life and to do what it takes to get out of that paradigm of people pleasing, of suffering, of anxiety, of self-doubt, and all of the other shit that goes with that conversation of people pleasing. There is nothing good that's going to come out of people pleasing. It's keeping you broke on every level. And it's not enough to just keep putting a smile on it and chuck on a nice dress and your favorite heels. You're lying to yourself. Are you okay with that? Because if you are, you shouldn't be. And this community is for women that want to rise and step the fuck up. That's what it's for. There is never anything that can stop you when you're ready to step up. Nothing, not money, not time, nothing. It's as simple as making a decision to say, I want more for myself. I'm not willing to go another fucking day making anyone else more important than me. Because that's called martyrdom. How could you drive a car from fucking Santa Monica to Joshua Tree with an empty tank of petrol? You're not going to make it there. You are going to stall. Literally, in the middle of traffic, you're going to go put, 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 and your car will stop. And that's exactly what's happening with you girls, is you are completely depleted of your energy, of your life force, because you keep going, there you are, there's my energy, take it. And then on dates, you're like, oh, what do you want me to do? We want to kiss? Let's kiss. And you let the guy call the shots because you're so terrified that he won't like you that you adapt yourself to what he wants. Who's relating to this conversation? Back again. I think I was getting a little bit too real for Facebook. Yeah. A couple of Facebook people are probably like, whoa, sister, there's a bit too much truth there for me. Let me just go back to watching Netflix. We're just going to stop this redhead with the blue headband right now because this is too much. Anyway, I'm going to come back to where I was, which was that, you know, I was saying it's literally when we overgive, we are constantly giving away our energy and we're surprised as to why we're not getting it back. And that's where resentment creeps in. That's where we're like, well, what about me? And then we get into this really bad habit of thinking, well, I'll just have to give more then to get that person's attention. Or you say to yourself, well, Lucy, I mean, these people are counting on me. I'm always the person that they come to if they want to move house or if they've got issues. I'm always the person they come to. And you've been getting a lot of satisfaction out of being that person. But my question to you is, this is an exhausting way to get loved. And you don't have to work hard for love when you're in alignment with who you really are. And it's so much easier to live your life when the person that you're focusing on loving becomes you. And I don't just mean getting a mani-pedi. I mean loving yourself so deeply that you're willing to face your shadow. You're willing to face your insecurities. You're willing to face your inadequacy. You're willing to face your limitations. You're willing to really face yourself and go, fuck, I need to learn how to shine the light onto those parts of myself that I keep hidden. Because that's what's going to set you free, and that's what's going to up-level your vibration, and that's what's going to make you fucking magnetic, where guys are going to be like, oh my God, I don't meet real women like you. You're so real. You're so authentic. I just want to be with you. I was saying this when I was teaching today, you know, like you might sit there thinking, oh, well, there's no men that are authentic out there. That's a crock of shit. The only reason you're attracting inauthentic men or men that aren't showing up for you is because that is a direct reflection that you're not showing up for you. You're not being authentic. Your heart's closed. So stop with pointing fingers at men. I'm so done with hearing about men being the baddies. They're not. There are plenty of drop kicks in the universe, but there are plenty of drop kick women as well. Okay, we're all accountable. We're all responsible for ourselves. My lens is that there are fucking incredible men in this planet, and I attract incredible men into my life, not just my husband, but friends and friends that I'm friends with. Its husbands are fucking awesome. I don't have any tolerance for hanging out with men that are drop kicks. It's not even on my radar. I'd just be like, next. I'm looking for the gold constantly, and I expect people to show up for me because I expect myself to show up for myself. And let me tell you something. I have been deeply sleep deprived over the last few days. I mean, hitting an all-time low of like, fuck, this is really full on. And so I said, okay, well, I know what I need to do. I need to be doubling down on the self-love. I need to be doubling down on my mindset work and getting support where I need it so that I can thrive, even with being sleep deprived. And that's what I want to say to you right now. Stop sitting there pretending that you've got this and, you know, reach out your hand and allow yourself to be supported by someone that's walked the path already, that knows actually how to attract in their soulmate, how to get on purpose, how to take up space, how to fucking quadruple your bank account. Yeah, because everything is energy. And I can absolutely help you with that. My team can help you with that. But we can only help women that are ready to help themselves. I have a very strict criteria of who I will and won't work with. And I always put it back to you to say, you know, are you going to show up and commit to doing the work? Because if you're not, I can't help you. I'm not here to get people into my program. Miss O'Callaghan, how the fuck are you? I've missed you. I'm not here to get anyone into any program that does not light me up. A lot of the time I'll send people away and say, I'm sorry, you're not ready to rise yet. You're like in Lazyville. You're not going to be able to even take on the teachings because you're not there yet. But if you're sitting here and you're so fucking done with your own bullshit and you're done with your own mediocrity and you're done with your own excuses and you're sick of being the bridesmaid and you're ready to be the bride, or if you don't want to be married, you're ready to be in that soul heart connected relationship with orgasms on tap where this man shows up for you. Even when you're having a bad day, he is there to catch you when you fall. If you're ready for that level of relationship, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, because why the fuck not? Then I say to you, what are you doing right now? What are you putting in place to really take a stand for yourself? Because it's not going to just happen. The universe is not going to plonk him in your lap just because you want it. And too many of you are very quick to say, I know I'm worthy. I'm definitely worthy. Yeah, great. That's all intellectual. Feeling deeply worthy is a completely different conversation, and it's not something that you can pretend. Guys can smell it. Your boss can smell it. Your friends can smell it. If you are not valuing yourself, people will walk all over you. And at the end of the day, we've only got ourselves to blame. We can't keep blaming, our circumstances. We just got to go and take 100,000% responsibility and go, I want more. I refuse to keep feeding my past. I refuse to keep feeding my fucking smallness. I refuse to go one more day in this suffering and overgiving and people pleasing. Because take it from me, it's not who you really are. And the universe, creator, God, whatever you refer to, even my atheists, there's something bigger than you. They knew what they were doing when they created you. There's no such thing as junk. You have everything that you need to thrive right now, and you are the only one blocking the good from coming into your life because you are clinging to your smallness. You are clinging to mediocrity, and it suits you to not have what you want. Otherwise, you would do whatever it's going to take to get into action, to get the right support so that you can fucking soar. The women that come to me will literally say to me, Lucy, please, for the love of God, invite me in. I cannot go on like this. I need help. I cannot figure this out on my own. That's vulnerability. That's a beautiful fucking power right there when they're just like, I'm done. Please show me the fucking way. I'm willing to do whatever it's going to take. I'm going to be 100% coachable. And it's really, really vulnerable. Like, it's a beautiful humility that I'm just like, yes, sister, let's fucking rock this. But if I have people coming to me, like wanting to have a guarantee, like, Lucy, can you guarantee that I'm going to change? I said, absolutely fucking not. If you come in and you're really committed, you will change your life. If you come in and fucking want this to be done to you, you're not going to get anything out of it, and I cannot invite you in. So this community is for people that want to rise, that are serious about not just doing my program, but continuing the work afterwards. We are all a work in progress. There is no silver bullet. But I just want to speak to those of you right now that are putting everything on the line right now. You're putting your future on the line, your fertility on the line, your happiness on the line, and you keep tolerating your anxiety, your depression, and all these symptoms because you think that that's who you are, and you think that struggling is normal. And you're so used to putting on this happy face and these jazz hands and making it okay that you haven't stopped to let it affect you on how un-okay it really is. That's my message today. For as long as you want to keep people pleasing, that's on you. I can help you solve that, but it's really going to take something because we're talking about dissolving over 30 years of conditioning, and it ain't no walk in the park. But it's fucking liberating. And the minute you get a taste of who you really are, you're going to want more. And you're going to wonder why you hadn't done this a lot sooner. Because shit gets real, and there are plenty of tears, but there's plenty of celebrations as well as you start to step into who you really are, into your higher self. There is no better drug in the world than actually you ingesting your magic, your greatness. You can't buy it. It doesn't exist on the market. Ecstasy is pretty close, but I don't encourage you to go out there and take ecstasy because it wears off and it's fucking bad for you. And yes, I've been there, done that, but no fucking way. That is not the answer because there is a come down from that. So my loves, it's been so good to chat with you. And let me just quickly see if I left anything unsaid. This is a two live Q&A. Did I write? Oh yeah, I did. I just wrote it down here. Hold on one second. Yes, people pleasing is born from scarcity, no belief in self, no self-worth, that you are putting people and everyone else on a pedestal and thinking that you need to just keep showing up for them and you're leaving yourself last. You're looking at someone that made that. Like, I had a fucking PhD at people pleasing, and that's why I teach, and that's why I'm a profound teacher, because I have been standing where you are. I am not teaching out of a fucking textbook. I'm legitimately teaching this and giving so much of a shit about this because this was where I was, and I'm here in front of you to say I'm living my best life right now with my soulmate, with my beautiful baby girl and my epic dog Stevie Nicks, living in California, looking out at the ocean, and that did not just happen. And it sure as shit wasn't going to happen if I stayed in that energy of no self-worth and putting everyone else before me and hiding from my greatness and just going through life on autopilot, showing up for a job that I wasn't even aligned with. Oh my God, and then drowning myself in alcohol, trying to escape my life or go on holidays because I wanted a quick hit of happiness. It doesn't last. You go away and there you are. So, and the other thing is you've been getting value from prioritizing everyone else but yourself. That's how you've been feeling loved, is by having, like, trying to prop everyone else up instead of actually pouring all the love and focus and attention into yourself. You've basically been betraying yourself. That's what people pleasing is. And you end up last. Good girls end up last. Does not mean when you step into who you are that you're not an amazing person and you're not generous and beautiful. It does not mean that. It means that you can share who you really are when you do the work to discover who that woman is really living inside of you right now. Because if you're people pleasing, straight away, it's like you don't know who you really are. You're scared of your own light. You're scared of your own power. And that's why you are keeping yourself living out of this shitty paradigm. You're scared to shine. You're not giving yourself any permission to be who you are, because it goes deep. Sometimes for those of you, it feels like, oh, I don't want to outshine my sister. You know, I had a beautiful girl who just went through Soul to Soul. And when we got to the core of what was going on for her, is like she had a sister with special needs. And so deep, deep, deep down, her little girl felt like it wasn't safe to take up space. It wasn't safe to be the priority. It wasn't safe to shine bright because it had always been about the sister, the sister, the sister. And it was never about her. And this is the same, but in a different context for many of you. It's never, ever been about you, ever. And it's still not about you. And until it's about you, it's never going to be about you. You are literally standing on top of your greatness. And you're always going to be living in mediocrity until you do the work, okay? So I'm sending you so much love. I hope that this has resonated really deeply for you and that you're just playing a role. Like, it's like in a really bad play where you're like, yeah, I'll play the girl who people pleases. That's what you're doing in your life. And this is why... this is why until you actually realize that there's a way better role called the leading lady that's available to you, until you get that that can only be created by you committing to doing what it's going to take to up-level your mindset, to get in touch with your truth, to get your heart open, and to get you out of the victim consciousness and liberated into the queen identity, into the queen consciousness, who's unfucking stoppable, who knows her worth, who feels it and radiates it. And then you start attracting in not just your soulmate, but you attract in these incredible opportunities. Miracle consciousness is what starts happening once you actually honor yourself and love yourself enough to put yourself first and to do whatever it's going to fucking take to get into alignment. And you're not going to find it in a book or on a podcast or in one fucking workshop. It's going to take a process to really up level and shift those neural pathways, and to be held deeply through the process with soul sisters who want the same thing, you cannot find a more potent process than that. And that's exactly why I only teach with the collective. I do not do one-on-ones, because the quickest way to rise is with a sisterhood of women that want the same thing and they have the same level of commitment. And that is why my women are changing their life in Soul to Soul. That is why my women are meeting their soulmates after they've finished Soul to Soul. Because Soul to Soul is not about the guy. Soul to Soul is about you coming home to your heart and shining brightly first and creating everything I'm talking about, like really dialing up your boundaries and your standards and self-love so fully and properly and solidly, not just like, oh yeah, I just dialed up my boundary. No, like really, really strengthening those muscles, the vibration muscles around boundaries, standards, loving yourself and healing the past and all of that. It takes something. It takes commitment. It's like you can't just go to the gym once and expect a six-pack to last. First of all, it won't happen in one go, but it's not going to last if you just go, I'm going to go and do weights today, and then you don't do it again. And that's what many of you are doing when you're just listening to the odd podcast. It's not that they're not awesome, but they're not. The podcast isn't taking you through a process. It's not holding you accountable. It's not doing the work at an individual level to get you down into the depths of your soul. It's not doing that. It's general. Okay? So you're in this community for a reason. And my invitation to you is, why not now? Why not you? Right? Let's jump on a call, speak to my team, and my team will speak with you and see if this is right for you, because obviously if it's not right, we will tell you that and we'll tell you to come back to us, or we'll send you off to do something else. But you're in this community for a reason. And for those of my diehards that have gone through my program, I'm sending you so much love, and you know, you girls have got to fucking stick with the work as well. You know, this is an ongoing process. And one of my favorite mantras is, the better it gets, the better it gets. But so many of you are terrified to actually get what you want because you're scared of losing it. And that's a whole other life around the fear of loss. But we deal with all of this in Soul to Soul. So sending you so much love. I'm going to go and be with my husband and my little girl and my little doggy. And yeah, write any questions that you have in the comments if you're watching the replay. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.